Let's try factoring trinomials where a doesn't equal 1 using trial and error. Some people also call it reverse FOIL. I call it the Floi method because we're really just guessing the first and the last, and we're checking with the outers and the inners. So guess and check is a good way to think of it. Guess the first and last, and check it. I should have said check there. Check it with the outers and the inners. So here we go. This is the way I was taught back in the day. I'm going to draw two sets of parentheses because I'm thinking full method backwards. These are our first. Those are our first. This is our last. These are our last. So let's think. What times what is 3x squared? Well, since 3 is prime, the only possibility is 3x and x. Now with the last, the 8, we got more possibilities than just 2 or just 1. We have several. In fact, we have 4. And if you want to, we can go ahead and list off 4 of those. We could try 1 and 8. We could try 8 and 1. We could try 2 and 4. We could try 4 and 2. So out of all those combinations, if those don't work, then nothing's going to work. So if it doesn't factor, that means it's prime. So let's see if we can figure it out. I'm going to get an extra piece of paper. I'm going to cover these up as I go. Now let's try 3x, 1, and then x and a. I'm not worrying about the signs yet. I'm trying to get the 14 in the middle. Now, I've already done the first and the last. These are our outers and these are our inners. If you take a good look at that, you might actually see a face in here. See an eyebrows, see some eyes, maybe a nose, maybe a mouth. Well, that's what we're going to check, the mouth and the nose. The nose gives us 1x and the mouth gives us 24x. Is there any way out of 1x, 24x we get 14x? No. That tells us that 1 and 8 does not work. Let's try this one then. Let's try 3x and the 8 and then x and the 1. Once again, mouth and the nose. Mouth gives us 3x, 8x on the gives us the nose. Can we get a 14x out of 8x and 3x? No. That means the 8 and the 1 doesn't work. Let's try this and we'll rewrite it so let's make it a little bit easier to see. We got 3x and 2, x and 4. Let's try these. Mouth and nose. Mouth gives us 12x, nose gives us 2x. Can we get a 14x out of the 2x and 12x? The answer is yes. Yes, we can if they're both positive. Since we're multiplying to get a positive 8, and when we're adding we need a positive 14x, that must mean that both of these has to be positive. So what that means is that 3x squared plus 14x plus 8 does factor as 3x plus 2 times x plus 4. It's called guess and check, reverse FOIL, Floi method. Now here's the real way you want to do them, and the more you can do these in your head, the more parts of it, the better off you're going to be. Here we go. Don't see a common factor, don't see 4 terms, I see squares, so I'm going to draw 2 sets of parentheses. I'm going to do the Floi method. I'm actually going to skip to the last here because it's a prime number, and I know that's got to be 1 and 5. I just know it. 1 times 5 is 5. Nothing else is going to work. 12 has all kinds of possibilities. Now, I'm going to show you how to think about this in your head and save yourself some work. Usually, the first thing you think of works. Not always, but usually. So when I see a 12, first thing I'm going to think of is 4 and 3. So what I might do, I might put the 4x and the 3x there. Let's just check it. Remember, I'm checking the outers and the inners. The outers gives us 20x, inners gives us 3x. 20 and 3 does not give us the 19. We'll keep the 1 and 5 as they are. Next thing I'm going to do is reverse those, 3x and 4x. The outers gives us 15x, inners gives us 4x. 15 and 4, if they're both positive, it does give us positive 19. That's how it factors. If that didn't work, I would have tried 2 and 6, and then 6 and 2, and then 1 and 12, and 12 and 1. I would have tried all possibilities. You may not like it, but if you do know your times tables, it does make this a whole lot faster. do a couple more. When you look at this, the first thing you got to recognize is it does have a common factor, and the common factor is 2. Make sure you take out that GCF. So I divide all terms by 2. I do get 15x squared minus 13x plus 2. Now I'm going to bring that 2 down and just leave it there. I'm not going to work with it anymore. I'm going to draw my 2 sets of parentheses because I have squares in here, and that may mean that it will factor. Once again, I'm going to do the ones I know for sure, which is that 2, because it's a prime number. 1 and 2, or 2 and 1, doesn't matter. What's this? What times what is a positive such that when you add them you get a negative? Well, in order to get like signs when you multiply, either they're both positive or they're both negative. That tells me they both got to be negative no matter what. Let's see if you can do this in your head. See this 15x squared? We're thinking what times what is 15? 5 and 3 is the first thing pops in my head. I'm going to do this in my head. If I put the 5 there, I'm going to be taking 5 times the 2, which is 10, which means the 3 goes there. I'll be taking that times the 1. So 5 is there, that's 5 times 2 is 10, 1 times 3 is 3. 10 and 3 does give us 13. So I put the 5x actually, there, and 3x there. And that's how it factors. Now if you want to just check that part right there, you just pull it out. 5x times 3x is 15x squared. 5x times negative 2 is negative 10x. Negative 1 times 3 is negative 3x. Negative 1 times negative 2 is a positive 2. These give us negative 13x, and all is good. That means it checks out. Feel free to use this if you want. Let's do this one right here. When you look at this, I see a common factor. Y. So I'm going to take out the y, divide it out, and this is what results. I'm going to bring down that y and not use it again. I see squares, so I'm going to draw 2 parentheses. It may or may not factor. Let's find out. Once again, I'm going to do the 5. And since it's a negative, I know one's going to be a positive, one's going to be a negative. We'll worry about those later. Let's go to the 6 now. If I put, the first thing I think of when I think of 6, I think 2 times 3. So if I put the 2 there, I'd be taking 2 times the 5, which is 10, which means the 3 goes there. If you want to, you put like a little 2 there, and like a little 3 there. 2 and 5 is 10, 1 and 3 is 3. 10 and 3, can we get a 7? Definitely can. So that tells me that more than likely these are the 2 answers, or the 2 choices we're going to use. Now let's think about this. I got 10x, and I got 3x. I need a negative answer. That means that when I add 10x and 3x, in order to get a negative answer, the bigger has to be negative. But 10 is definitely bigger than 3, and I got the 10 from the 2 and the 5, so the 5 has to be a negative. And the 1 and the 3 gave us the 3, so that has to be a positive. And we're done. Let's do one more, see if I can make one up off the top of my head. 2x squared minus 3xy minus 5y squared. I've been using 5 way too much. Let's try something else. Let's do 4x squared. Let's do minus 9y squared. Let me make sure that I'm looking at this correctly. That's a minus 9xy. So, do you see a common factor? Let's make that 9y squared. So here's the actual problem. 4x squared minus 9xy minus 9y squared. Do you see a common factor? No. 2 squares? Yes. Draw 2 sets of parentheses. Now, first thing you want to do, here's the first thing I really would do. What times what is x squared? X and x. What times what is y squared? Y and y. Gets the variables out of the way quickly. Now, this right here may be a little bit more difficult to do. So here we go. We're thinking what times what is 4. First thing you want to think of is 2 and 2. Now let's go to the 9. What times what is 9? Let's see, we could try 1 and 9. Let's check it. Outers gives us 18. Inners gives us 2. 18 and 2. No way does it give us the negative 9. Let's reverse it. 9 and 1. Check it. We got 18 there and 2 there. Not close to 9. Let's try 3. 3 times 3 is 9, by the way. We get a 6 there and a 6 there. Can't get a 9 out of that. What that tells me is that 2 and 2 will not work. I've tried all my possibilities for 2 and 2 with all the factors of 9. So now, instead of trying 2x and 2x, let's try 4 and 1. Don't need to put a 1 there, but if you want to, you can. So we got a 9. So let's try 3 and 3. Should have made them smaller, but that's okay. So we have 12 and 3. Can we get a 9 out of that? Can we get a negative 9 out of that? The answer is yes. 12 minus 3 is 9, but we need a negative 9, which means the bigger of the two has to be the negative. So 12 came from those two, which means that's the negative. The 3 comes from those two, which means that's a positive. That's how it factors. Now some of you may be wondering, where did the xy go? Well, where's it at? Well, let's check it. You FOIL it out. 4x times x is 4x squared. 4x times negative 3y is negative 12xy. See that? xy. 3y times x is 3xy, or yx, doesn't matter, it's the same thing. Minus 3 times 3 is 9y squared. And those do become negative 9xy. Checks out.